Show human-readable file sizes in the default PowerShell ls command. How can I modify the default ls getChildItem in PowerShell so that it displays human-readable file sizes, like lsh, on a NIX machine? lslh does simple logic with the file size, so that it shows bytes for really small files, kilobytes for files over 1K, with 1 decimal place if it's under 10K, and megabytes for files over 1 meter, with 1 decimal place if it's under 10 MB.
Try this. You can also use dynamic type data with PS3.
Something like the following for listing just file sizes. Yes, it is a bit sore on the eyes, but it manages to get the job done. For converting to KB. For converting to MB.
First, create the following function. You can then pipe the output of getChildItem through select object and use a calculated property to format the file size. The function could of course be improved to account for sizes in the PB range and more, or to vary the number of decimal points as necessary.
Here's a bit of an orthogonal answer to this quite old question. It's not an answer to the question as literally asked, but more about the spirit of the question. It's also not an answer that was even possible for years after the question was asked. But now, it may be useful for some subset of folks who come looking for this information, as I did today. Since the original question pointed out how easy this is in NIX, I realized that with WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, installed, it's a no-brainer to just use the Linux, LSLH, from PowerShell. Gives me the results I want, and it sounds like the op did, on the current directory from within PowerShell. Better yet, if you have exa installed in your WSL instance, WSL exa L is much prettier, and defaults to H. Note that if you want a different directory, there's a bit of a trick when using the WSL command. Since utilities running inside a WSL instance, such as ls, only understand Linux paths, you can't do something like. Instead, there are two options. First, you can use the WSL equivalent of the Windows path. For example, or just set the directory for the WSL instance with the CD option, like so. This also works with relative directory paths. Don't worry, if you were, it's not going to change the current directory in PowerShell. When the WSL instance exits after running ls command, PowerShell will retain its current environment, just like running a subshell, in either PowerShell or a Linux shell like Bash. PowerShell and WSL are each great on their own, but putting the two together gives you something even more powerful. P.S. This works with either WSL 1 or WSL 2, but if you are going to be handling a lot of Windows files in WSL, version 1 is, currently, an order of magnitude faster. WSL 2 is faster when using the virtualized ext4 file system.
If you want to see closer channel, please consider subscribing.